everybody, and welcome to the Kawaii Bookworm Plays with Yarn podcast. I'm Hannah, and I am a Jersey girl studying at the University of Liverpool, and I am here to talk about my knitting and knitting adventures. So, today's busy. It's been a really busy morning. I have to get to work soon, and so I might have to do this in bits and pieces. So if all suddenly the lighting changes or my clothes change or my makeup changes, it's because I had to go and do it another time. But I'm going to try to get through it all today. I have a lot to talk about because Nottingham Yarn Expo was last weekend, and so I will be talking about that. But first, let's talk about FOs. So I don't have an FO again, but I will talk about a backlog FO, which is my Oracle shawl. It's not blocked, which is why it looks so wrinkly, and the ends are not woven in. I don't have anywhere big enough to block this, so it's just kind of been sitting around until I can get my hands on some foam blockers and get that done. So it is made from, again, Wool and Vine yarns. This one is the I Am No Bird, and then this one is Dead Calm, and this one on the end is Paranormal. I had difficulties with this lace pattern, and I don't really know why. It's a very, very simple lace pattern, but I kept, like, this first section of it here, I think I did 2 or 3 times, and there was lots of tinking and lots of swearing. I don't know why I had such a hard time with this lace. It's not a hard lace, so it shouldn't have been so difficult, but I think it's because I was trying to figure everything out and help my mom at the same time. So, because she's also doing the Oracle shawl. She's not finished yet, but she has a much busier life than I do. And so I'm holding this backwards. So, she's still working on hers, but this is my Oracle shawl. And I need to block it so badly. So moving on to whips. I am still working on those socks, but I have turned the heel. So I did a fish lips kiss heel, and I did the foot a bit shorter than I did on my speckled space socks because this part of the heel where the seam is comes up too high on those socks, and so they're a bit too roomy for me. I like my socks to be nice and tight. So this is where you saw me last, and this is a new progress keeper. This is from Dusty Dimples, from the Nottingham Yarn Expo. Again, these are 2 at a time toe-up socks, plain vanilla, on Wool and Vine Yarn's Footsie base in the colorway Brain Freeze. I think this may have been a one-of-a-kind colorway because I don't see it in her shop or in her listings of repeatable colorways. So I am onto the leg, and hopefully that will get done by next episode. These are US 1.5, so 2.5 millimeter Knitter's Pride carbons on a 40-inch cable. And this is how much yarn I still have, so I'm going to have a lot left over. I'll have to figure something out for that. Then the next whip is my Cozy Memories blanket. And I'm super excited because I have started the second row. It is now long enough for me to, sorry about all the banging they are doing construction next door. But this is now long enough, and I've started the second row. This is where I left you guys on the Outlander colorway, and this is also a new Progress Keeper. This is from Beehive Yarns, and it's so cute. I love bees, so the honeycomb with the honey in it is amazing. I'm sorry for the glare, but yeah. So all the next yarns, this is kind of going into additions to the horde, because all of these are brand new from Nottingham Yarn Expo. I went on a mini skein craze, though not as many as some people, but I bought a whole lot. So this gray square is Garthenor yarns. They are an organic yarn company, and so all of their wool is sourced organically, and they're undyed. So this is just the regular, just the natural wool that you get. This is much bigger than the other squares, because when I was there, I was debating between the lace weight and the 4-ply weight. I was looking at the lace weight and I was like, that is so thin. I don't think that's the right weight. I think the 4-ply might be it. But it's not so bad. It's very sticky yarn, bit scratchy, but I like it. It was fun to knit up, and it was really, I really like that there are some organic yarn companies out there, because I do think that doing things organically is important. I am an environmental studies major, and so I see a lot of the research and a lot of the things that occur when you do use lots and lots of pesticides and man-made chemicals and stuff like that. So I'm happy that there are some companies out there that do organic yarns. This next one is from Gamer Crafting. All of her mini skeins are one-of-a-kind colors, and they don't have colorway names. But this one is a lovely, lovely blue and green with some white. And it's on not a silver stellina base. So it does have some sparkle to it. I love this color. It makes me think of, I want to say the ocean, but there is one that makes me think of the ocean much more than this. But I'll say like pools. This makes me think of pools. This next one is from Moleview. I don't know how to pronounce it. It's spelled Moel View. So Moleview. I'm sorry if I'm butchering it. It's naturally dyed, so it's this very light spring green color. I'm not sure if the yarn itself is organic or natural. Well, of course it's natural, but processed and the sheep raised naturally organically. I'm not really sure. There wasn't a lot of information on the placard that they had, just that it was naturally dyed. So it's not synthetic dyes, it's from plants. I think it's beautiful. Again, it's kind of scratchy like this one, but it's not so scratchy that it's uncomfortable. It's just woolly. This is another one from Gamer Crafting. It's this really pretty purple and green and white. And I should pull out the balls of yarn that they came from. So this is what it looks like in the ball. It's also a silver stellina, and that's how it came out. And this is the gray from here. And the blue-green from this one. There's almost nothing left of this one. It's a very tiny, tiny amount. And the one after that is another Garthenor. Where is it? Yeah, it's in the different bag. It's another Garthenor yarns. Same base. It's a 4-ply, but it's in brown. So they have a bunch of different sheep, and they can make like 4 or 5 different shades of natural yarn, and I think they're beautiful. And then this one is West Green yarns, and this is the one that makes me think of the ocean, because it's got the sand and the browns for like the sand, and the really light greeny blues for the ocean. And I was knitting this up, and I was just like, I feel like I'm on a beach right now. And I love it. And that is what I have for the blanket. I'm excited to start working on it. If anyone has tips, because I'm a little bit worried that there's going to be a hole right here when I put the next one on. I'm not sure if there will be, but I am worried about that. So if anyone has tips on how to keep that from happening, please comment below. I am still learning on how to do these squares, and so it's learning curve. And that's being done on my 16-inch 3mm Addy needles. I don't know if they're the Sock Rockets or the Turbos or whatever. That's what they're being done on. So for the last 2 mini skeins for the additions to the hoard is another Garthenor. I got 3 of them, and this is in it's almost a black. It's definitely a really dark brown, but it's almost black. And then another one of the Moel View ones, but in a blue. And this is how it came. The green one came before I balled it up. So I really like them. They're very nice. That's it for whips. So I'm going to go into a complete additions to the hoard section. And there's quite a bit. I did some damage at Nottingham Yarn Expo, but I'm happy about it. I got quite a bit of what I wanted. I do regret not getting a few things. I kind of got overwhelmed and I ended up buying just first things I saw instead of walking around and looking at things and then going back and buying thinking about what I wanted, which is why I didn't get. There was a perfect knitting project bag from down Sheepy Lane, and it was perfect, but I had no money. I had like 2 pence on me, so I couldn't get it, and I will order from them when I have more money. But so first things first, I got 2 Progress Keepers from Beehive Yarns. This is the bee. I'm sorry for all the glare, but I have horrible lighting, and so I'm not sure how to show this off. But it's a little bee. I haven't used this one yet. I'm not sure what I'm going to use it for yet. But yeah. This skein is not for me. It's going to be a hat for my sister, which is why it is bright orange. So this is 100 grams of merino nylon sock weight. It's 400 meters. The colorway is Tangerine, and it is from For the Love of Yarn. I was searching for a bright orange color because my sister loves orange, and I saw a lot of like burnt umbers and like autumny oranges, but I was like, I need something that screams orange. And I was walking around, and I saw this out of the corner of my eye, and I was just like, that's it, that's the one. So bright orange. This will be fun if there's leftovers to put into the blanket. It'll be interesting to see how this comes out. Then I bought from Coastal Colors this one. And this is a really interesting make. It's a 4-ply, 100 grams at 366 meters. And the make of it is 60% superwash merino, 20% silk, and 20% yak. It's so soft. Like, just squidging. Oh, it's amazing. I have no idea what it's going to be. I don't know. It's going to be something, but I'm not sure what. And it's a really cool color. I tried, so I have a lot of blue. I love blue. And I told myself that I cannot buy too much blue today at the Yarn Expo. I need to go a little bit beyond that and get some colors that I don't normally use. So this is one of them. It's this browny orangey color, and I think it's beautiful. It might be a shawl. I don't know. Then the next three are all from Stranded. I went straight to Stranded because I wasn't really sure how this festival was going to be, if it was going to be so packed that the really popular yarns would sell out fairly quickly. And I also didn't want to accidentally spend all my money and not get any Stranded. So I went to them first, and it was so nice to meet Amy. She was very, very kind, and it was exciting. It was very exciting. I was also very nervous. In my vlog, you can tell because I was holding my phone on a selfie stick, and it was just going because I was so nervous. But it was nice chatting with her. She was very, very kind, and she has some amazing colorways. So I got 3. And they're so nice. This, I allowed myself to get blue from them because I was like, I like blue. So this is the vintage Christmas colorway. It's on the 75-25 superwash merino nylon fingering weight base, and there are 425 meters. I'm not really sure what I'm going to do with these. I kind of want to make socks. I might cast socks on for Christmas, like my Christmas socks. But other than that, I'm not really sure because it is really pretty. It is a very pretty color. I almost feel like it's a shame to put them on socks. But at the same time, it's Christmassy, and I can have Christmas socks, and I can do a Christmas cast on with them. And it'll work, but we shall see. Sorry, just checking the time. This one is a one-of-a-kind colorway. It was kind of in, it was in her sale box. It's a 100% superwash merino single ply fingering weight, and there are 366 meters in this. And it's this gorgeous tealy bluey color. Almost a lighter version of Dead Calm. It's a bit of a tonal, and I love it. I saw it, I was like, yes, this is mine. I've never worked with single ply before, so I'm not sure what this is going to be. Everything except for the tangerine colored one, I don't know what it's going to be. I just kind of bought colors and skeins without really thinking about what base they were on, which might have been a mistake. Um, but yeah. This is Magpie, and it's on an 80/20 superwash BFL and nylon base. It's 365 meters. And when I saw her on her podcast talking about her sweater and saying it was done in Magpie, it looks very gray in the podcast. But there are these hints of blue here. And I love it. So it's this like black, gray, blue kind of color. And it's beautiful. I did get this in sock weight, or a sock yarn. Again, I wasn't really paying attention to what bases I was getting. I was kind of like going with color, which granted, I probably should have thought about that before, but it happens. I'm okay. I don't mind. I don't usually mix bases, but all three of these look amazing together. So maybe I'll do like a shawl that uses three things, or I'm not sure. I don't know. But that was my haul. And they're so pretty. I still have some time, so I can talk about some things. So, Nottingham Yarn Expo. I'm not sure what to say about it. Mostly because it was my very first yarn festival that I went to. So I don't have anything to base it off of except for what I've seen from other people when talking about Rhinebeck or Edinburgh. And I don't think that's fair, trying to compare them to Rhinebeck or Edinburgh, especially if I've not personally experienced those two yarn festivals. It was their first year, and in my experience with anime conventions, the first year is usually always a little bit rocky, because you've thought of a bunch of things, but you also didn't think of other things, and it happens. That stuff happens. So I got up. My alarm went off at like 4:30 in the morning. I rolled out of bed at 5:30, and got ready and took almost 3 hours, a 2.5 hour train to Nottingham. And we got there, and we actually walked right past the building that was in, because there was only one little banner out on the sidewalk, and it was near the building where, like, say the building was here, it was like here, and the edge of the sidewalk where we were kind of walking was like over here. And so we didn't really see it, and we just walked right past, and then we were like, where is this? And we saw a bunch of people walking that way that had like shawls and scarves, and we were like, they look like yarny people. Let's follow them. So we followed them, and it turned out to be in the building that we were discussing, because it was a very interesting building. I think the inside was really cool. You walk out on like what is like the ground floor, but in the center of that floor is cut out, and there's a floor below it, and the ceiling is all glass. So you had a lot of really good natural light, and they filled the space essentially, but it also was they had a lot of, trying to word this right. They had a ton of space, and they definitely had a ton of vendors, but it didn't feel that way because there was so much space. I think they managed to give each vendor enough space to work with so that you didn't feel like you were sardines, which I've experienced at like New York Comic Con. And that is not fun, being like packed in like that, especially if you're trying to look at yarns and finding ones that go together, and when you're trying to think of pricing and how much you need and what colors you need and all that. I think it was good that you had a lot of space to look at everything. The one drawback of that is because it was done at Nottingham Trent University, it's not set up as a convention center. So you had kind of this center atrium place where they had on that first floor where the floor was cut out, everyone lined up around it. And then on the bottom floor, they had everyone lined up around it. But then there was offshoots of each one where they had more people. And so as you're wandering around, you'll be like, oh, there's more over here. And you'll go down that way and be like, oh my gosh, there's way more over here. And then you'll kind of loop around and then find another, like, almost corridor. It wasn't quite a corridor, but it was almost a corridor. And so I think that was a bit detrimental because there weren't really signs that said, like, more yarn over this way or more vendors this way. And apparently they had a thing with the fashion students that had made stuff. And most people didn't know about it because there was no signs for it. So I think in that way it was a bit, if they had more signs, it might have worked better. But I definitely enjoyed it. I thought it was, as a first year festival, at least in experience with anime conventions, I think they did a pretty good job of having lots of different offerings of vendors and utilizing the space in a way that it like both worked and didn't work. I think if they had signs, it would work a lot better. But you definitely weren't on top of each other, which I think was nice. And I think that's pretty much all that I have to talk about Nottingham Yarn Expo. I got a lot of stuff. I talked to a lot of people. I ran into another Hannah, who is Hannah Corner of Craft on YouTube, and so it was fun chatting with her. And I ended up one of the people that I came with had sat down somewhere, and when we went to sit down with them, Hannah and a bunch of people that she was talking to was there, so I was able to chat with her more than just what I initially thought I was going to be able to do. And there, talking to a lot of people was fantastic, and seeing what was there. And so I definitely know more of what to do next time, which hopefully will be Edinburgh. And I am already starting to save for that because I know that's going to be a very big dent in my wallet. But I'm okay with that. I'll do it for the yarn. And then, so for the last thing that I want to do for this, I meant to do it in the last 2 episodes, but I forgot. Yeah, I think the first episode I didn't have a book to read, and then the second episode I had just finished a book, and so I just forgot about it. But I am the quiet bookworm, and so I want to throw in a little section of what I'm reading at the moment, because I am usually always reading at least one book. And right now I am reading a beast of a book. It is Oathbringer! This is the brand new Brandon Sanderson book that just came out at the beginning of this week. And it's a monster. It's like 1,200 pages, hardcover. I am so excited. I love long books. And so this is the 3rd book in his Stormlight Archive epic fantasy series. And when I say epic, I mean epic. Of the 3 books that are out, they're all 1,000 pages plus, and there's going to be 10 books in this series. And I love Brandon Sanderson because he has such interesting magic systems. I read a lot of fantasy. Fantasy and science fiction is my go-to stories. And I'm used to reading um, magic books where, like, you've got the wands and the staffs and you say spells and you make potions and um, very typical European wizards, witches kind of magic. And Brandon Sanderson does not do that kind of magic. And all of his systems are very unique. Um, and just about every book, except for some of his YA series, is all in the same world called the Cosmere, except on different planets. And so it's really cool to pick up on the one character that shows up in every single book, especially if you know to look for him, because it's not a in your face like, hi, remember me from the last book? Yeah, here I am now. It's done very subtly, and I like that. But my arms are getting tired, I'm sorry. So his magic systems are really interesting. Everything is interconnected, and this is the series that kind of starts to bring everything together from all of his other series. And so you start seeing more characters from other worlds meeting, and things that are all the like loose ends are starting to be tied up. Though it's still going to be 7 more books, so there's a lot more. There are more loose ends being made, but at the same time, more being tied up, and it's really interesting. I know some people don't like starting series if the series is not finished. I'm not exactly one of those people. I just kind of pick up a book and start reading, and I don't really know if it's a series or not, or if the series is finished or not. If it interests me, I'll read it. And what I like about Brandon Sanderson is he releases books like that. This, I think, is maybe the 3rd book that came out this year. I know Bands of Mourning came out in January, and I think Calamity, which is part of a series that I haven't read yet from him, came out shortly after that. And then this one came out. So he writes quickly, but well. I don't think the speed that he writes at is detrimental to the work that he releases. And every year in December, he releases a post called The State of the Sanderson, and he talks about what his goals are for the next year, and then if he managed the goals from the year before. And I think that's great because he's really good at talking to his fans and interacting with them. And I like that because we get an update of, hey, you know what? Oathbringer spent all year working on it. I need to take a break from Stormlight Archives, so we know that we're not going to get another Stormlight Archives until probably 2019, which I'm totally okay with because I know that there will be other books that come out in 2018 that are by him, but not this series. And so he's very good at keeping up to date, and he does say, like, yeah, I know I said I wanted to do this, but it just didn't happen. I got writer's block for it, or it was just not the right time to write it. So I wrote this instead, even though I said I probably won't get to that one. And so I think that's great. I like the communication that he has with his fans. And he's actually coming to Liverpool at the next week, I think. Or the week after. 29th. Week after. I sadly was not able to get tickets, but I'm still going to go to the store and see if somebody doesn't show up. Because I would love to meet him. I read Elantris, I think, actually back when it came out, which was almost 12 years now. And it was amazing. And now I'm totally on a Brandon Sanderson kick. So I'm happy this has come out. And I need to wrap up because I gotta go to work. Thank you for watching, and I hope you come back next week. And any questions, please ask and comment below. Thank you. Have a nice day.